Hello everyone, my name is Lorianne Smith. I am a child abuse survivor. I'm also a child abuse prevention public speaker, and this is my website, Born in Hell. Thanks for reading. I really appreciate everyone who's taken the time to listen to my audios, watch my videos, um, supporting my work, spreading it around. You know, hopefully it's helpful for somebody out there. My main goal is child abuse prevention. Just by getting this information out here, so people will I just one more voice with all the others speaking out against this, standing up for child rights, for human rights, for what we know is right, you know, and standing up for survivors, to say you've got to hang in there, you got to reach out, get some help, just to be a support, for other people who may have no one in their life, that they can talk to, no validation, but they're stuck with the aftermath of the abuse, and they won't reach out. Just like I didn't reach out until the age of 42. So thank you so much for your interest in my work. I really appreciate it. That's my cat, little Lori, in the background there. She likes to be in all the videos. She's our baby, and we love her. She's precious. And this show, I'm just titling this particular video, "The Damage Done." I was going to do one a while back and keep putting it off. It's sort of the finale, I guess, the final video, I guess, in the series that I'm doing for now. I don't know if I'll do any more videos regarding the Born in Hell video series. I may at some point. I have to do these when I feel like, it's going to be worth doing, something worth putting out there. And so tonight I'm just going to talk about the damage done. Child abuse is horrific. If it doesn't kill the child, it'll kill them anyway. That's what happened to my siblings. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to my parents. Both my parents were abused. So I'm not going to repeat the whole thing because I've done about 25 hours worth of video here. And so you have to, if you want to go back and catch each piece, segment of my life, you can, where I talked very sort of detailed and graphic about the whole thing and went into some real detail there. I figured what I'd do tonight is just sort of sum it up, the damage done. Just horrific. Now, as we know, children who are abused are rarely taken to the doctor because the abusers don't want those doctors reporting them for child abuse. So children, that's why they die. They die in their cribs, they die in their beds, they die on the floor and wherever they're at where they've been abused horrifically. Internal injuries usually, or some head trauma. Something the abuse is too harsh and it just kills these little kids. Well, I survived. My parents didn't manage to kill me, so they tried. That's what I said in my last video. You can go watch it. They tried, but they couldn't do it. But the thing is the damage is done. I don't talk a lot about it because I don't usually come on and complain about what physical ailments that I've suffered from this stuff. I've actually never done that. But I know where these things come from, and why I've had so many problems dealing with certain things in my life, especially with physical stuff, and it's absolutely horrific. And the bulk of it was done by my mother, some by my dad, some by my brother, who sexually abused me. My mother is responsible for most of the physical abuse towards me. My dad, some, like I said. My brother, the child sexual abuse. So we'll start with my mom. I detailed the beating that I took where she broke my nose. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing again. But the issue is that she literally rearranged my face. I'm not wearing any makeup right now. But if you can see in the full light, I've got all kinds of facial damage. And it gets worse as I get older because I guess as you get older, your face is expanding and changing shape. And I know when I was younger, I could see in some of my pictures some of this stuff, like this one that goes from my eye. It's this side here. It Comes all the way down. That's on my very early pictures. Very early. You can see it. It's not as dark. It's not a dark stain. It's actually is a welt that turned into a scar. And I don't know, to be honest with you, what was used to cause that. Whether it was a belt or I don't know, had to be some sort of an object. But that's in all of my pictures. And there's like quite a lot of scratches on my face. You can't really see them. You have to have detail. If I had a black light, you'd probably really be able to see them. But all kinds of scratches, cut lips, busted lips, which are now spreading out because my face is changing shape and so they're getting worse, even worse looking. A lot of facial damage. That's just the stuff that you could see because my mom, she did burn me in the oven, and you can see some of the scars from that on my knees and my side, and I've got quite a lot of damage, like to this arm here. But the thing is most of the stuff that my mom did was heavy object damage, internal bones. Like she said, I'll break every bone in your body. She tried. She broke a few. I found this out, as a little kid, I'm just being beaten. I can't cry. If I cry, I'll be beaten again. I can't say anything. Can't stand up for myself. But I'll be beaten again. So I stuff it. I don't even think about it. As an 18-year-old, after a bad car accident that I had, it was pretty horrific, Ended up having to I was in the hospital for like 10 days, having to have surgery. My friends were all injured. It was just horrific. I did a video on that. You can go back and check that out. 1819, that video there. And I think I'm wearing the same t-shirt, actually. I like this t-shirt. And, it's horrific, So I had to go through these scans, body scans. So they did a scan on my head. And the guy I actually had a top trauma unit because I was actually nearly dead from this car accident. And they had to hurry and make a bunch of decisions on what they were going to do, and they had to check for internal damage. So they had done this. They did a bunch of scans. They did a brain scan and a skull scan to see if there was any damage to my head. What kind of damage was there? Because my face was smashed. So they were concerned about, well, it was mainly my teeth. My teeth were all pushed back, and of course it was cut and cut up a little bit. But it was mainly just bruised because I had hit. I went like this to block the steering wheel, and of course hit myself in my own head. But it was a bad car accident, really bad. I'm just so thankful every single day that none of us died. I don't think I could live with that. As it is, I've had a hard enough time living just with having injured my friends. That's been hard enough. So, you can never say you're sorry for something like that and have it really mean anything. Horrific. So only God knows how sorry I really am for hurting my friends. But the issue is I wish it would have just been me, because I would have deserved it, not them. Right? But I had to go for this head big time checkup thing. They had it was a major program. It was like a computer program. They could look at my brain and they could see the skull, the interior, and the lab tech guy was like, whoa, 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 what do we got going on here? And I'm sitting there, I have to be very still because I'm in a brace thing around my neck to hold me very, very still. I can't move. And I'm just going, oh God, what is it? And he's like, because I was sort of half out of it, he's like, well, you've got a lot of damage to your skull. And it's not from the car accident. This is old, really old. He said, you've got several skull fractures and cracked skull segments. He says, you were either really, really clumsy, really clumsy as a child, or you were abused. So which is it? And I was 18. I told him, I said, well, a little of both. I was so embarrassed. I really did. I was in shock. I couldn't even deal with this. I couldn't deal with anything. Just sitting there in shock from this accident. And he goes on and he's checking my neck and he's like, "This is old, really old. You gotta, he says, you have so much neck damage and so much like spine damage around your spine and your shoulder, like your upper neck and stuff." He's like, "You just have so much damage there." And he was all pissed off. He started writing it all down. It was old. He said, "This is from when you were little." He says, "I'm an X-ray technician. I can read these things. We can tell the old damage from the new damage." So he said, "It's up to you if you want to press charges. You're 18 years old. But I'm telling you, it's not good." So they did a whole full body scan at that point. Damage to my ribs, old, separated ribs, cracked ribs in the back and in the front. You know, rib separation. That's from my dad mainly. My hip was completely twisted out of socket. It had been for years. Well, that's because I told you back in that video, 5, 6 years old. If you want to go back and watch that my dad had twisted my leg when I was fighting to get away from him because I didn't want to be beaten on with a belt. He's going to take me in my bedroom and throw me on the bed and beat me with my belt. So he was dragging me into my bedroom, or this bedroom me and my sister shared, and I grabbed onto the corner of the door post and was holding on because I didn't want a beating, man. I was like holding on really tight, and he's pulled me around the corner and twisted my hip out of place, completely out of socket. Then threw me on the bed and started beating me with a belt. And I knew he had injured me at that point because I was like in so much pain. It was unbelievable. But he didn't care. No. I was 6 years old. I was just turning 6. I was right around there. And he didn't care. No, he just beat me with a belt. Then my brother Chesley had to come and get the belt away from him. Did anybody take me to the doctor to see what was wrong with my leg? No, they just left it. So what happens is I've got a lifetime of problems with my hip. Not only that, 2 years later, my brother raped me. My brother Rob. Sexually abused me, sodomized me, raped me for almost a year. And it wasn't a year, it wasn't quite a year, but it was pretty close. And he then made that leg worse from the rape. So that leg was already screwed up. The hip was already out of place. And he just made it worse. So now, as an adult, back when I hit about, 39, 40, right in there, my hip went out. It just completely went out. And I was crippled for one day. It was horrible because I couldn't walk and I thought I'm wheelchair bound now, unless I have surgery or something. So I had to go make a decision. Do I go to the hospital? No, I don't go to the hospital. I don't trust doctors. I don't want nothing to do with them because it's too embarrassing for me to go to the hospital. It really is. I don't want them to know about this damage that's been done to me. It's too embarrassing. Oh my God. So, no, I go to chiropractor. I think it was a wise choice and a wise decision, actually. But it took me 5 years of going to a chiropractor 3 times a week for 5 years to straighten it out because he put it back in place enough for me to go get x-rays. So I could actually literally get in a cab, go get the x-rays, and come back and walk enough to do that. And went back to his office, and he's reading the x-rays, and he's like, "How do you think that happened? You must have been doing it." "I don't know." He says, "I don't know how a person could do that." I said, "Well, I had a bad car accident, when I was 18. And he said, "Oh no, that have to be done when you were young, just like a young girl." He said, "Can you think of anything that happened when you were a young girl?" I'm like, "Well, I can tell you exactly what happened when I was a young girl. I didn't tell him about the rape, but I did tell him that my dad had twisted it out of socket." He said, "It's completely twisted out of socket all the way around." He says, "He says, "It's amazing how you've been able to walk." He said, "The only reason why you could is because all the muscles in your leg grew around your bone the wrong way to adjust for it. So now when I do the work, and we do the work to put your hip back in so that we can get it to stay there, so you can actually not be crippled or have to have surgery, whichever you prefer, your muscles and the veins and the tendons and all that stuff's going to have to grow back around the leg properly. And it's going to be very, very painful for a long time. And it was. Just sitting on the toilet seat was hell. I'm sorry. I mean, this is the way it is. Just sitting down anywhere was just hell because all these muscles in my leg had, all the way down to my ankle, had to grow around properly. It took me 5 years. And I still have problems with it today. I still have to do these particular things where I have to lay on certain little wedges in order to put my hip back in place. So it's a lifetime injury from my dad. Thanks, Dad. And then my brother just made it worse by raping me. He was 21 years old. He weighed about probably 200. He was skinny, but he wasn't small. He wasn't teeny tiny guy. He was like 6'5", 21. Probably weighed like 240, 230, somewhere in there. Big guy, 6'5". I'm an 8-year-old little tiny little girl. He raped me. He hurt me bad. So not only that, I didn't, I knew there was this. I'm not going to go into too many details about this child sexual abuse, the CSA, but now we'll move to my brother because we just talked about my dad. He separated my ribs, put my hip out of place, beat me across the face with a belt. And you can go back and watch all them videos if you want to. I deal with this child sexual abuse thing because I'm barren. And I went to a gynecologist, and I talked about this before on the video that's like 20 to 21 to 26 or 22 to 26 or whatever video that is, where I'm just talking about the fact that I met this guy and I knew it was serious and I knew that I wanted to really develop this relationship with him. He would be my first, the love of my life. He was going to marry me, and we were going to be forever together, a couple. This is what I was thinking in my mind, right? Just love this guy, my first love. And so I went to a gynecologist because I thought, I got to get on the pill. Don't want any, I don't want to have, a pregnancy here that I'm going to have to deal with at this stage in my life. And so I didn't know that I was barren, see. So I went to this gynecologist, and a woman, of course. I'm going to no man, not if I'm being raped by a man. My brother, no. So I go to a woman gynecologist, and I wrote down on the clipboard that I had never had sexual intercourse before with anyone. I was a virgin. In my mind, that's what I was thinking anyway. I'm a virgin. Never slept with anybody. No, my brother just raped me for about a year when I was 8 to 9. Isn't that sweet? So, I'm sitting there and she's doing the checkup. Not going into details here. She's pissed off. She keeps leaving and going to talk to her colleague in this next little part of the office thing. This little behind a little door, And I'm in this very precarious situation. Not happy to be in it. And I'm thinking, this sucks. She keeps walking off. She's all pissed off. She's rude. She's obnoxious. I don't like her. I don't know why she's being so rude to me. This is a horrible situation. I don't want to be here anyway. People digging around in my vagina. No thanks. I've been abused sexually. I don't want people doing that. So I don't like, it's a fear, of course. My body's been violated, right? So she comes out and she's like, you can get dressed. We're done. She does all the tests and everything. So I get dressed and then she comes over to talk to me. I'm sitting there and just waiting, all dressed, ready to go. She's like, so you got here on your clipboard, you wrote here that you've had no sexual intercourse, that you're a virgin. And I'm like, yep, that's right. She's like, well, honey, I got news for you. You're no virgin. We know what it's child sexual abuse. These are old scars, old. And you can keep saying you're a virgin all you want because you're 21, you're over 21 years old now. But I'm just telling you, it's up to you if you want to prosecute or whatever. We see the damage. CSA child abuse, child sexual abuse, we're going to write it down as we see it. Your uterus is damaged. You've got a lot of scar tissue there. And whether or not you will ever become pregnant is iffy. Probably not, we would say. Chances of getting pregnant, very slim. Even if you do, by some miracle, get pregnant, you will probably not be able to carry that child. And you would have to probably have reconstruction surgery. This is the damage from the CSA child sexual abuse that my brother did to me. Left me bleeding night after night after he raped me. Now I want people to wake up and smell the coffee, man. This is incredibly wrong. And my family thinks that I should just, oh, I just love mom. She was so sweet. Forgive and forget. Forgive and forget that my mom rearranged my face, beat the shit out of me my whole entire youth, off and on, not every day. Mom didn't beat me every day. I'm telling you about the abuse. Right? That's why I went through and did all these videos. And I talk about this stuff. Because that's abuse, not discipline. And as far as child sexual abuse goes, 95% of child sexual abuse occurs in the home. It's somebody the child knows. It's somebody who has access to that child. I want people to wake up. Wake up. Smell the coffee. Use your head. People do not make up stories like this. This is incredibly wrong. Not only are we victimized as young children or as youth, then we're victimized again by a society that says, did it really happen? Can't you just get over it? Aren't you just embellishing the truth a little bit? It's like, and what I say to them, fuck you. That's what I say to them. I love to say that, actually. Fuck off. You can't even begin to know the horrors that we survivors have been through. I've tried to give you a little taste of it here. And if you can't see that what I've been talking about since 2009, basically, is horror, then there's something wrong with you. For anybody who's listening, that just happens to be a supporter of abusers. So, the damage done is horrific. It's horrific. I detailed a lot of stuff there previously, and it's in my books, But I'm not going to detail it all, but I didn't talk about so much about the, what the physical abuse had done to me. Like literally, I have problems with my body. I can't sleep more than 6 hours because I'm so stiff after 6 hours. If I sleep 7, 8 hours, that because of the damage done to my ribs by my dad, especially my dad. My mom too, she used to beat my ribs with these heavy objects. Whatever she could get. Table legs, her fists. My mom was a big woman, almost 6 feet tall, 250, 280 pounds on any given day. Even over that, like around 300 sometimes. And kicking me, punching me, beating me with heavy objects, right? And that rolling pin beating that I took from her. But also broomsticks, throwing me into walls, shoving tables up against she shoved a table up against my ribs, and I know that's what caused a lot of the frontal rib damage. No, and I'm supposed to just sit there like a good girl, like that little Lori that I was, that everybody remembers. It was so cute in those pictures, and just sit there and smile and take it. You know why I was smiling in those pictures? Because somebody was actually saying something nice to me. The camera guy at the school usually would say something really sweet like, oh, you're just so cute. Look at you in that cute little dress. I bet your mom's so proud of you and stuff. And you smile nice and pretty so that your mom and dad will be so happy with your pictures, stuff like that. Every year they would say stuff like that. And of course, as this little girl, 6, 7, 8, 8 right in there, that just, of course I'm going to smile. My 8-year-old, 8 to 9 school photo wasn't very good, but that's because the CSA child sexual abuse was happening, and I was just in shock, basically, and sick. Sicker than a dog. I couldn't participate in PE. The teacher just thought I was being lazy, sent me to the principal's office, and I got a beating with a paddle for that. Because I couldn't climb the overhead thing where you got to climb the pole as part of the PE thing. Because I was raped. Probably just a few nights before, and I was sore, and I was bleeding. And I'm 8 years old. So I didn't want to climb that thing because it was hurting my vagina when I had to do it. So excuse me, but I'm just going to be real here. This is what I do. So my PE coach got mad at me, yelled at me, sent me to the principal's office. He went with me, and they gave me the paddle. They didn't bother checking out, see what was going on. You can see in my photo, dark circles under my eyes. I wasn't sleeping. No, why? Because I was being raped. That's why. And, it's just horrific. And then the next photo, you can see 9/10. I took a bat to my dad's head, a pink plastic bat that I had because my dad had my mom had surgery, and my dad was in her bedroom, and I thought he was going to rape her because that's what he was always doing. And she was upset, and she was telling him to get out, and she was so sick, and I thought she was going to die. So I went in there with my pink plastic bat, hit him in the head with it as hard as I could, knocked his glasses off across the room. He was so pissed off. And I detailed this back in the 8, 9 to 10 video. You can go watch those. But anyway, the damage from that's some of my cranium, my skull damage, as well as my neck, because the chiropractor actually fixed a lot of that for me in my neck, which was great. He had to work. The chiropractor not only worked on my hip, he worked really on my body. He helped straighten out a lot of my problems, which was really nice of him to do. He was very, very good. He did a lot of kinesiology as well. And but that school photo, you could see the swelling around my face. Well, that's because my dad had beaten the shit out of me and then shook me like a rag doll and then threw me into the wall. My dad's like 6'5", 6'4", somewhere in there. At this time, he was a big guy. And, in good shape. Probably weighed like 250, right in there somewhere. Ex-military man. I'm just this tiny little 9-year-old girl. I hit him in the head with a pink plastic bat, which, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. But the thing is I was trying to protect my mother. So that's some of the damage there. 10 years old, my mom just rearranges my face. There's a picture of me with seeing Santa Claus there. You can see the big, huge, upraised pieces of my face where she, you can see them now because they're dark. You can see them all right there. That's all the darkness from those bruises. They were big, honking welts sticking off my face. And, my nose is still kind of purple. My lips, you can still see that, some of the damage done to my lips because she had split my lips. So that photo, what are you going to do? And then my photos just start looking more depressed all the time. Actually, I'm just sitting there like this. Because I'm like, at this point, wanting to die. Wanting out. The damage done by people that should have taken care of me and loved me and been good to me. And all of that physical damage done from all of those beatings, from my mom and my dad, from the burning from my mom. She used to burn me with her cigarettes too. I think she did it on purpose too. She would say it was an accident, but I think she did it on purpose. She'd burn the backs of my arms. The rotten woman she was. She was a mean ass. But all of that stuff, that's horrific. But what they did to my heart, that's what I'm paying. That's the price I'm paying right now. That's what they did to my heart. Yeah, they screwed my body up, And then I did, because the abuse that I suffered, I did a lot of drugs, didn't take care of myself. And, still even today have a hard time taking care of myself. And an aversion to life somewhat. But the thing is my fight just keeps me going. But the issue is these two people, these parents of mine, they never picked me up after they beat me. Are you kidding? They never got me any medical attention. No, because they were brought up on abuse charges. My parents were charged with child abuse. And even when there was an intervention done, actually there was a couple of them, but this one intervention that was done, the parents of my friend's parents went down to talk to my mom. And my mom said, I don't care. Because they said, well, if we see one more scratch on her, one more bruise, If we find out you're beating on her ever again, this is after she busted my head open with a rolling pin and beat my back, and I still have major back rib problems from that. My shoulders, cracked my head open, vision is funny, dizzy all the time. And, they said, we ever see anything like not even a scratch, we're going to report you. We're going to get her removed. And my mom was like, I don't care if she ends up in foster care or not, because I don't want her around here anyway. See, now, at that point, I should have gotten out. Right? But I loved my mom. I wanted her to love me. I wanted her to do what was right by me. You know? I wanted her to hold me, because she never held me. She never used to just hold me and say, "Oh, you're my beautiful daughter, and I just love you." No, because I was a rape child, unwanted. That's why it was easy for her to do what she did. My dad was just psychologically ill, very, very psychologically ill, schizophrenic as well as BDP, borderline personality disorder, and other problems. He was just mentally ill abuser man who was abused himself as a child. No excuse. My mom was also abused as a child. No excuse. She hated her mother for what her mother had done to her and her siblings, and then she could justify doing what she did to me because I'm a rape child. I'm just a piece of shit rape child from the man she hates, who rapes her, producing these offspring that she really doesn't want. That's how easy it is. That's the damage done. So I go through life knowing that my mother, even on a year before her deathbed, when I left and moved to Canada, never wanted me. Never wanted any of us. I got the truth. You can watch my video there from like 29:30, talking about that. I meant, it's horrific, the damage done. So for all these people out here who just want me to shut up and go away, it's not going to happen. I only have 2 siblings left. They're not saying anything. Well, it's because I cut them off. I don't talk to them because they're in denial, and I'm not having any part of that. So, I've got a few relatives, very few, and it's it is what it is. The issue is no, I'm not going to be silent because what was done to me was wrong. I also speak out for my family, also for my siblings. Now they won't speak out, the ones that are living. I don't care. The issue is the ones that are dead, their voices, when they died, the secrets that they carried with them of the abuse that they suffered, because I'm only talking about mine. I'm not going into the history of the beatings that my dad did and my mom did to my other siblings, because they did abuse them too. I wasn't the only one. I was just the last one. So they had fine-tuned the art of abusing their children. By the time I came around, they were good at it. Really good at it. And they had so much hatred in their art for each other and for their life, And it's just, and people could sit there and say, "Well, but we just loved your mom. She made cookies. She was so good to us. She let us drink beer around your house, and she gave us books. And she did things for us." Well, she didn't do much for me, but hurt me. And the same with my dad. The abusers have a lot of support, and the victims have no support. And that's why I don't care. See, I'm used to suffering on my own. I'm actually really used to getting up off the floor after being beaten and kicked and spit on. And I'm used to have to getting up in the morning after being raped and have to go and clean up before I go to school. Sitting in the bathtub trying to clean up a little bit, And it's like, for all these people, that would just like to see me go away, isn't going to happen. Truth is truth, and it needs to be said. And this is why I do what I do. So for all you survivors out there, I'm telling you, do not give up. That's my main message. I say it on all of my stuff, and I do it for a reason. because I want you to hang in there, and I want you to get help, even if it's anonymous or a crisis line. Like I always say, you do whatever you have to do, but you stick it out. Do not give up. Not ever. No, because we did not deserve that. We can't go back and change the past. The past is done. The damage is done. But what we can do is the right thing by ourselves. Since it wasn't done for us as a child, we're going to have to do it ourselves to be our best own advocate and get the help that we need, whatever it is, to get our needs met, so that we can have a decent rest of our life. Right? Can't take away that. You can't take away what's been done. But I can definitely take charge of where I'm going today and tomorrow. You know, and how I'm going to survive the rest of my years as a survivor of abuse. So it's a journey. It's a long road. We've already come through hell. Now we just have to learn how to manage and to deal and to cope. And I always say this really on all of my shows. For every day that we stay alive, it's a slap in our abuser's face. And that gets me through the day. It really does. That gets me through the day, man. And it gets me through the night. Because I'm like, they couldn't kill me. They couldn't even get me to kill myself. They tried. No, I win. And that's what I want you to do too. Take care, everybody. Be good to yourselves. And until the next time.